All right. Good morning. Good morning. It's actually 3:05 a.m. Not quite sure why it is. I didn't get home until late. Well, my normal time. I think it was the drive and that may have been a little bit more hectic. Sorry if my screen's back a little bit further. I'm trying to get my whole setup kind of where I want it to be at. I'm on my way to the gym right now. Trying my hardest to make sure that I don't back out of here. One day I might back out of here and knock that rear view mirror off. One of the two, because there's a car parked right there too. But what's important? There was a very important question that was posed to me, and it was, "Who are you? Who are you?" Just think about that. And what they say is, in Western civilization, is when somebody says, "Who are you?" the response is, "My name is Jermaine." Who are you? Versus a little bit more of a deeper question is, "Who are you?" And then some people will define themselves as, I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Jew, Gentile, I'm a Muslim, I'm an uncle, I'm a dad, I'm family first, I'm a businessman, I'm an entrepreneur. Who am I? Who are you? Just whatever your definition of you are. Then I'd have you consider something when you answer that maybe who you think you are, and I'm not going to get all bizarre on you, but maybe who you think you are is not exactly your true purpose, your true calling. And a lot of people fall into who they think they are, and then it ends up not being 100%. Like if you say, "Well, I'm a mother," or "I'm a father," or "I'm a husband," I'm a husband, I'm a wife, outside of "I'm Jermaine," here's what I am, here's what defines me. And then you start looking around and recognizing that some of the highest divorce rates actually involve people who are parents. So you have a bunch of people who have kids intertwined in the mix, and they end up becoming a part of a divorce because ultimately maybe what you defined yourself as isn't it. Because if it was, maybe you wouldn't have got divorced, right? If that was really who you were, if that's who your definition. I'm not trying to get all morbid. I'm just saying that people, including myself, we have a tendency to, one, define ourselves to something that we're not. We think we are, we hope we are, we want it to be, but at the end of the day, there's a breakdown, there's a disconnect in what it is that we think we are, who it is that we think we are. It ends up being some type of disconnect. Now, the second thing is, besides "who am I?" or "who are you?" is, if I was to give you one wish, I said, you got one wish for whatever you want, right? And this is where you got to kind of open your mind up a little bit. The one thing, if you didn't have, you would need it to live. That would be oxygen, right? Just follow me on this one. The one thing you would need to live, if you didn't have it, would be oxygen. But since we have oxygen, since it's something that's readily available, right? Besides the person who's on an oxygen tank, you wouldn't use that one wish for oxygen. You wouldn't. You're like, why would I use my one wish? The one wish where I can have anything I want, anything my heart's ever desired, I can ask for it at this moment. I can have it. Why would I use it on something that I already have? I'll tell you something funny. And I believe this, and I believe it even more each and every day, that I'm conscious of it. We're steadily asking for things that we already have. We're always asking for things we have access to. We're always praying that our bills get paid. Some way, somehow they end up getting paid. It wasn't as a result of your prayer. You were allotted exactly what you were going to be given according to your faith. And a bill is not too big of a deal for God to be like, done. Right? That's not supernatural for God to pay a bill. It's supernatural when your car breaks down unexpectedly. You took all your bill money and put it into the car, and the next thing you know, a check comes in the mail that covers a $400 light bill. Now that's pretty damn miraculous. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you work 7 days or 5 days a week. You got your normal paycheck, and you just went and screwed up and went to the casino. Well, it's not outside of God's reach to go ahead and hook you up with a light bill. Like, dude, I'm gonna make this happen for you. But ultimately, think about it. Really think about it. How much of the things that you could be asking for, all the things that you should be expecting in your life, how many of them are really things that you already have coming to you? How many times are you wasting your breath asking for things that you already are entitled to? And when I say entitled, meaning God ain't going to let you starve, fool. He said, if I feed the birds of the air, how much will I do for you? You were made just a little bit less than the angels. If he's put so much emphasis into building and developing your dynamic, why would he just leave you hanging? But I'd have you consider that you're wasting your time asking for things that you already have. You're putting labels on yourself that doesn't necessarily define who you are. And yeah, it's a little bit deeper. It's a little bit deeper. But think back, have you ever had a chunk of money and did it just make you feel really good? Nah. Especially if you weren't right or centered up here, it didn't make you feel really good. Chances are it created a whole bunch of havoc with the fools around you who didn't have nothing. Envy, jealousy. And money is almost always the thing that we ask for. Money is almost always the thing that we require. And it's almost always the thing that's just going to come to us without us even asking. So it's like we're wasting that wish or wasting that prayer on something that's already going to be provided. I mean, the fact that it's not a big chunk of money, it's not a big chunk of relief, well, that has everything to do with your responsibility level. You don't give somebody who don't know how to manage their checkbook $1 million. You just create a bigger, irresponsible person faster. So I'd really challenge you today to really ask yourself, who am I? Because I'm almost certain of this. Who you think you are isn't who you really are. Unless you really have an enlightenment, you really have an understanding, you really have a closeness with your purpose, your intention, I guarantee you don't have a true idea about who you are. And that's not even a knock. Matter of fact, it's the best part of the journey on earth is to find out who you are. And don't be all delusional, because some people will get delusional. Some people will start running around talking about you ain't supposed to have money. I didn't say that. What I'm simply saying is on this planet, you can have whatever it is that you want, because everything will be given to you based on the measure of how you can handle it. You're not going to be given a great big old responsibility if you can't even handle the small stuff. You're not going to be given a great big old chunk of money if you can't even handle a little bit of money. You're not going to be given a whole big old family to be responsible for, to be the head of, if you can't even get yourself up and get yourself together and get yourself where you need to go. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you can have anything that you can be responsible for. You can have anything that you truly believe that you can have. You can have anything if you will cherish it. I'll never forget that parable in the Bible about the master who gave the slaves or the servants. He gave each one of them some coins, and one slave had spent all the coins, taking chance. The other slave had invested it and then came back with another. And then the other slave took what he was given to him and buried it in the ground. Well, when the slave master came back and asked everybody what they had done with what he had given them, he took the one from the slave who had buried it and gave it to the one who had doubled it. See, so you got to do something with the blessing. You got to do something with the gift, because that's what allows him to multiply it and give it back to you even more. But I'll just have you consider something, that maybe you're not who you think you are. And maybe you haven't really come to an idea, a definition. But I also have you consider this, that if you go on that journey, not only will it open up the doors for riches or that big family or whatever it is that you're seeking or you're searching after, or just happiness, just contentment, just peace of mind, just the ability to develop. I guarantee that if you give yourself that opportunity to ask that question, there's a strong chance you might come up with an answer that will allow you to become more freer inside, because there's a good chance that you're really bound up, you're really tied up, because you've been chasing a bunch of things that really weren't important to you. But because you feel like you're defined, or you have to be a certain way because that's what popular demand is being said. Well, I don't believe that. But I also don't believe that God put us here to be poor, to be beggars. The fact that he said we shall lend and not borrow lets you know right there, you're not supposed to be a burden on other people financially. You're not. You're supposed to be in a position to lend to somebody, to give to somebody. And it's hard to really be in a position of power and control if you're financially struggling. So no part of what I'm saying means be broke. You's a damn fool if you broke, because that's an issue. A person who's hungry, he can't very well teach a good lesson on an empty stomach. So you need money to eat. And I ain't say eat anything. It's expensive to eat healthy. It's very expensive to eat healthy. Protein and meats and vegetables and different type of carbs that you need. Now, it's expensive to live and eat healthy. I just have you consider the fact that you haven't really questioned yourself about who you think you are. And the things that you're asking for are things that were going to be given to you anyways. You're just wasting your prayers and your wishes on things that you already have coming to you. The fact that it ain't in the size or the abundance that you want doesn't have anything to do with the prayer. It has everything to do with the person. You simply have not grown into a position where you should be trusted with more. So you can let go of the prayer, just grow up. Let go of that prayer. Stop wasting your breath on that prayer. Just grow up. If anything, ask for a closer relationship to God. If anything, ask to be matured. If anything, ask to be grown. If anything, ask to be enlightened and enriched with the ability to be responsible with more. I don't think God would have put me in charge of a whole household of people, kids, children, if he didn't think that he could trust me to do that and be a good man and be behind there. If you look at people who are not necessarily the best individuals, they typically have a separation. There's typically a split, a tear. Something went wrong. So 1, who am I? 2, maybe you should be praying and asking for something else. Because no more than you would waste that one prayer on oxygen because you get it. Don't waste it on money. Don't waste it on relationship. Don't waste it on anything else, because if those things haven't came to you and you're entitled to that, it has everything to do with your growth, your maturity. You asking for a relationship with a man or a woman, chances are you might flip out and go crazy. You're not ready for that. Maybe you need to have a relationship with yourself. You're not ready. Certain things in this life you're entitled to, you're going to get, hands down. Just like you're going to get oxygen. But then that's not always true, because I know people on oxygen tanks right now. Oxygen ain't even a guarantee. They got to force inject it into their body. Right? Now, damn, we even took the oxygen for granted until we on a tank. A highly explosive tank. It all starts with asking yourself, who am I? And I don't want you ever coming up to me talking about who am I and I ain't money. I ain't defined by money. Yeah, you ain't defined by money, but you need it. What are you, crazy? Don't go crazy on the question. Don't go crazy on the question, because certain things you're entitled to, other things define who you are. That's it. Who am I? And it becomes the best journey that you could ever be on, is the who am I journey. You get to a point. It's the who am I journey. When you can separate and say, I'm entitled to money. How much is dependent on my responsibility level. I'm entitled to happiness depending on what I think about myself. I'm entitled to a family if I can show I can be responsible to be the head and not the tail. I'm entitled to stuff as long as stuff doesn't entitle me. Right? I'm entitled to live in a nice house as long as I take the responsibility to take care of that nice home. My house, I'm getting ready to hire a maid because nobody has time, wants to make time, so I guess we got to pay for it. That's fine. There's people that do it for a living. Come clean this house. Since I got to pay for you, I'm still invested in the process. I got a landscaper, comes out a couple times a month. I'm invested in the process because I have to make the payment to make my house look nice. You're entitled to a vehicle. You're entitled to transportation. But if you take care of your transportation, so don't get all weird on the who am I question. Don't get all freaky and use that as some excuse to say I'm a bum. But no, I just sleep on other people's couches and I beg other people for money. And then I call it being free. No, you're a bum. You're a bum. Let's be straight. You're a bum. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Because I know that what my word tells me is that you're entitled to all these things according to your ability to handle it. The same way they make the legal age to drive 16, 17 years old, because at 12, 13, you're not responsible to handle a 4,000-pound vehicle. It is what it is. But the next stage of my journey is just simply questioning, who am I? And not wasting my breath on things I'm entitled to. God, if you give me money and you give me lots of it, I'll treat it right. If you give me a really nice car, I'll get the oil change, I'll clean it every single day. I'll treat it like the best. If you give me a huge family, I swear I'll spend enough time and love, and I'll write them letters and notes and letting them know how much I love them. And I'll always get them in the church and we'll pray together. We'll do all these things. Give me a bigger house. I'll make sure I take care of it. Give me more, I'll do more with it. I promise you. But don't ask for more and start doing less. And also don't think that more defines you. You're entitled to that. It's a part of your inheritance. The true secret is, who am I? Who am I?